Hi, this is Andres Dominici with Winning Solutions Inc. On today's video, we're going to show you Let's Sync solution. They provide a way to interact, import, export data from QuickBooks. Today, the interview would be with Yudel Rosales, who's the principal of Let's Sync. We want to let you know that if you need to do any type of integration with QuickBooks and your own software, or if you need to for Winning Solutions to build your custom software, we can do that and integrate it with QuickBooks using Let's Sync tool. We have partnered with Let's Sync to do this type of solution. So with not further ado, I'm gonna continue with the video. The audio at some point kind of breaks off because the communication drop off, but I tried to edit it as best as I could. If you have any questions at all, just contact us at microsoftaccessexperts.com or winningsolutionsinc.com. Thank you, and here's the video. So I'm here with Yudel Rosales from Let's Sync Solutions. He's gonna show us their new integration with QuickBooks, which works with SQL Server, Azure, Microsoft Access, and he's gonna give us a demo on how it works. So Yudel, hi.
Hi, Andrea, how are you? Thank you so much. Okay, so when we open the application, when we install the application, the first thing after we open, so we're gonna see this window. If you're not registered already, so you have to register just to get a 30-day trial for free. So when you click here and continue just to register, so it will take you to a website that I'm already registered, but I will show you. So it will take you here. Okay, so you will register for a trial. So you're gonna put all your information there. This is not required. So you're gonna put your email address. On the email address, you're gonna get a 30-day trial for free key that you can punch in on the application. So let me just, so you're gonna put that trial here. So you're gonna activate online. So after you activate your trial, so you're gonna get a 30-day trial. So you're gonna be able to try the application, and the customer service is included on that period. So if you have any problems, so you can contact me and we can help you out. We can set up a remote session and get you up and running. So after you activate the trial, so you're gonna get the application like this. So right here it will say 31 days, and then after you decide just to go for the subscription, then you're gonna get another trial. So the first thing that you have to do is just add a company file to the application. So how you add a company file? So you need to have QuickBooks open. It has to be on single user mode. The single user mode is only to add the application, to add the company file to the application. After the company file gets added, you know, the process of adding the company file is called handshake. This is like a kind of handshake that QuickBooks does with Let's Sync. After that, you can go back to multi-user. That is only take 5 minutes just to do that, just to do the handshake, and you can go back to multi-user. So all the people that they're using QuickBooks, they can just log back in. Or you can do it after, after hours. No one, affect no one else.
And how many company files can you add to Let's
Sync? It is unlimited company file. You can have as many company files as you want. You can have unlimited databases and unlimited tasks. There's no limit on how many company files you can have.
Well, that's good, because some companies, they have multiple other companies which they run their QuickBooks accounting in different files, even though they're kind of in a central location. So that's very good that you can do more than one.
And I have some clients that they actually do the server for a different company, and they actually have different company files added to Let's Sync, and it have different databases, one database for each company file, which is recommended, and they got the databases from different servers depending on their client, and they can actually run a business, giving servers to different customers just using Let's Sync, and none of the data from different customers it needs to be, affected or not, nothing like that. The only restriction that listing has, it needs to be installed on the same computer that QuickBooks is. Because
Oh, okay.
that's something that QuickBooks is more than QuickBooks restriction. That third-party application needs to be installed on the same computer. And listing does support terminal server as well, so
Okay.
you can do terminal server.
I see.
So well, here we're gonna use, of course, just for data, to protect data, we're gonna use a sample company file that comes with QuickBooks.
Mhm.
And remember, when you have actually company file, you need to be logging as an admin. Why as an admin? Because the admin user or super admin for another company file is the one that will grant authorization to any third-party applications to connect to QuickBooks. You don't have to use admin user to connect to the company file, but the user that it has to connect to the company files either has to be the admin, which is only one, or the other one needs to be full access user
Okay.
in order for the information can be queried from QuickBooks. So go right here, just right click, add new. So this check mark is only for you, for the person that installed the application. Okay, we have QuickBooks open, it is an admin or full control user. Okay, so when you hit add, this window will pop out when you say, okay, I'm gonna grant authorization to Lessync to connect to the company file. So we're gonna use the option right here, which is the last one, because you want the application to connect even though QuickBooks is not running. So
Of
that
course,
will
yeah.
allow you, that would allow you to do all the synchronization automatically, so you don't have to have QuickBooks open all the time. And even though, once you set up the window task scheduler, you can actually run automatically the task, before in the middle of the night, and QuickBooks doesn't even to have open for that. So we're gonna hit yes. On this case, you don't see any user right here because this is a sample company file. But once you do that on your company file, you will have a user display right here. And then either if you're gonna connect with the admin user, then you will pick admin on right here, or you're gonna pick the user that will connect that Lessync will use to connect to QuickBooks. Can be any user, but in order to work, it needs to be either the admin user or the full access. What people do most likely is they just create a new user only for Lessync, and they give that user a full access to the company file, so no one gonna be using that user from another computer to connect to the company file, so there won't be any interaction because when you are connected to QuickBooks through a third-party application, at that moment that Lessync is running, you cannot use that user from another computer, because when you do, QuickBooks will kick out the third-party application and the task won't run. So, like if in your environment, no one uses, or you are the only one as a client that using Lessync is the only one that is using admin. So I would recommend you to do the admin on that computer, because most likely admin is the one that runs in the server. Or just simply create a new user and that's it. You can go.
Okay.
And this part right here allow this application to access personal data. Is only necessary to check when you're gonna query, for example, earning or payroll, this sort of kind of information that is sensitive. Otherwise, you don't need that. But if you will most likely going to run a payroll report or an earning table for your employees, then you need to click this one. But if you don't do that at the beginning, you can always go back and do it afterwards. So we're gonna hit continue, done, and that's it. And this name right here that you're gonna see is only for display, because there's no way that any third-party application won't be able to change your company name. So you can put there, the recommended is as your company is naming, or you can put anything. You can put, for example, RCC if you don't want that much. So just get that one. And now the other step is just, right now we can, if you would be on the regular environment, on the live environment, you can go back to multi-user and everything can go back to work. Right here, we're gonna add a database. So we have different databases that we support. will be Access, SQL Server, MySQL, Azure, and Oracle. For Oracle and Azure, database needs to be created on the server because that's a server restriction. So Azure won't let any application to create a database from outside. So if you have an Azure server, you will have to go to Azure, create a database, and then right here from the sink, you're gonna add the tables to that database. That's
Okay.
Azure and Oracle. For Access, SQL Server, and MySQL, you can do the same thing because, for example, there's servers that they have restrictions that they don't allow you anyone to create database per se from outside. Mm-hmm. So you will actually go to the server, create your database, let's say DB, and then right here you're gonna have the option. Let's say you create already your database on SQL Server, then the option won't be creating a database because you already have the database. It's just an empty one. So the option would be add an existing table database, not because that database hasn't been added to the table yet, because you're doing it for first time. So it will be add table to an existing database. So you're gonna add the tables to an existing database because what LessSync will do is just mirror QuickBooks table to that database. Then if you got an empty database, we're gonna add the tables to that existing database, and then you're gonna set the connection. But on this case, let's just create a new one completely. And you're gonna have to put all your server right here. So in this case, so let's sync DB first. And how was it called? I forgot. Okay, there you go. I remember the password. So you will create a new database. Then this name right here, I will show you the server right now with the database created, and this name right here, it will be for display only. So you can use the same one that the application will propose for you. You just can add a new one. For example, as you mentioned before, like they have different component files, so you can put right there the database. For example, you can put LessSync DB for Rockcastle. That's a way to know, like, if you have different clients with different database, you know which database it will be linked to which component file. But that's completely up to you how you want to manage. Yeah, every client manage their configuration differently. Then when you go to the server, you will see that the database was created. LessSync DB, and then when you open, you will see all the tables that were created. Of course, they're gonna be empty because we just create the tables. We didn't do anything else. And what this database does is just try to mirror QuickBooks database, as close as possible, and create relationship. For example, for accounts, you will get only accounts because account doesn't have any child table. But for example, for bills, you'll see bill right here. I'm gonna have a transaction ID for bill. But for example, bill has different subtables, and those subtables, they're all listed. You will find that on the help file. So it's not like you are neglected. So you're gonna go to the help file, which is online, and you're gonna see alphabetically list the tables. Right here, you're gonna see all the tables, and you will be able to see all the fields, which one are queryable, which one you can update, require for date, insert, they're all right here documented. For example, for bill, when you go to bill is a parent table, and you will see the child table right here. So you will see all that information.
Well, one thing that I found when doing previous implementations is that customers sometimes think that all the fields, all the data from QuickBooks will be available either to read or update, and there's actually some things I've seen that they're not. That doesn't work like that. It's just doesn't get doesn't come to a third-party application like yours. And this is a very good sample where, you at least you're providing. There's some companies, I think other companies that have this, and they don't even let you know what is updatable, what is not updatable, what is required when you're inserting the the information. Sometimes you just need to send only two things or three, and it's done. It's a
Exactly. So this is important because when you try to create an environment, like for example, add an account or add invoice, it's good to know which one you can create and which one you can add and which one are required. For example, if you're gonna create an account, the only thing that you are required to create a new account, it will be only the account name. With account name, you can add an account. Of course, there's so many other fields that you can add, but the minimum required it will be account. QuickBooks has the documentation. It's a little difficult to read through, but let me show you that documentation from QuickBooks. Sometimes I have customers that they're really, techy, to so to speak, and they like to manage all the information. And this is the documentation that QuickBooks provide. For example, when you go here and you see the accounts table, you will have three options: account query, account mode, which will be data account, and account add. And then when you click here, you will have different tabs. You will see the requests, the response, and you can actually see on XML, which that's a part that I like to read because you can see the values that each field can have, and all what is required. For example, on the request right here, you can only, when you see this, that will tell you which one are mandatory or not, and then you will be able to see like which one you're gonna get on the response. For example, on employee, if you want the earning to be a response, then you're gonna have to click on allow to access to sensitive information. But that's something, that information that you can actually read from here. But that's why I have the help out.
But yeah, definitely yours is more user friendly for those
Exactly.
people that are not familiar with SDKs and what they do and all the nitty gritty of a programming, which is basically which this documentation is directed to. But this is great. I love it because sometimes I learned the hard way when using before OpenSync that I thought that I needed to always have like a send when I wanted to send a primary key, that I needed to send the actual ID, and this you can actually send a full name, because the thing is that what happened, and people they don't know this when they do this type of implementations. For example, if you have I have a client that has their software right running in two different places, so they have two different, even though they share all the accounts and everything is the same, but actually QuickBooks, their primary keys, they're totally different. So if you do an integration with another software and you're dealing with, say, let's say for a customer name, and the customer name is XYZ, maybe in one QuickBooks it's going to be a long primary key, which is assigned by QuickBooks, and then on the other site they have also a company XYZ, but the actual primary key is different. So when you want to integrate it, then you can use this cool thing that actually using just the full name, and that way you don't have to rely when you're doing sending, like for example, invoices or something, and you need to sign the customer. You need to sign the list ID, so you can kind of reuse the software, even though if they're going to be in different places.
Yeah, that's correct. But even though for that reason, I got another field for that because on Lessing will have another field. Since there was a lot of requests that there was a lot of customers that they were, because what Lessing will do is just create a mirror database, but most likely the clients they just want to push information from or to another database, and they will need that integration. Which one is the primary key on their databases or the server database, and which one is the primary key for QuickBooks. And there's a way to integrate that. For example, when you go here to account, let's just use account because it's a simple one, a really popular one, everyone uses it. So we have user data. What happens with user data is a user, it is meant for users to use. That information that you put right there it will never go to QuickBooks because QuickBooks doesn't, that's not a QuickBooks field. That's a field that I create for users to do the link. For example, let's just create a task and then we're gonna see the information. Let's just do, since we're just working with account, we're just gonna populate account, which is faster. Go ahead.
Yep. I think that feature alone, you know, it's worth the product because it is so hard to keep synchronized what it was there previously in OpenSync with what we needed to do when we were programming was kind of in our own custom, because usually, as you know, people start with small companies and they have their own customer tables and all of this, and they grow and they want to keep QuickBooks, and you don't want them to mix the data, right? So you need to some kind of link, and this is where your software comes in. But the way that it used to work before, you needed to actually in your software kind of link it to, in this case before the previous product OpenSync, you needed to kind of link it so you could know what was the primary key assigned by QuickBooks, and you needed to go through all these loops and hoops. And this is awesome because if your primary key for your client is number 1000, you just drop 1000 there. When you're doing any updates, inserts, you just relate to this user data, and this alone, I love it.
Okay, yeah, it is really helpful. But you know, when we're gonna create a task, which the task is actually the one that does the job, so we're just gonna add a new one. Sorry, we got the wrong one. So add a new task. Right here, when you have multiple company files, they're all listed. We only have one. When you have all your database, you know, you get to pick the database one. We can get to the schedule part later, but you can actually do the scheduling from LessSync or the scheduling from Windows Task Scheduler, which is the one that I recommend. Because I did the scheduling, but there's no better scheduling than the one that comes with Windows. And you can take advantage of that because the scheduling from LessSync, once you are logging, is working. But if the server restarts in the middle of the night, if you forgot and you log out, you will lose the scheduling from LessSync. But when you have the scheduling for Windows Task Scheduler, then even though the computer got restarted because it got updated in the middle of the night, Windows will run that task. And we're gonna get there later. And right here, that's the different tasks that you can do. Populate from QuickBooks is always the task that I recommend to do when you install the application for first time. Or for any reason your database the data gets compromised, or you know, get out of sync, or you delete something from your database without by mistake or whatever. I always consider QuickBooks as a master database. So if something goes wrong on your database, just run a full populate and you will good to go in no time. It will take, depending on how big your company file, it can take from 1 hour, 10 minutes to 10 hours. That will be depending on your company file, how huge it is. And refresh from QuickBooks, that's the one that pulls the information from QuickBooks. And when you're only interested on getting information from QuickBooks, that's the one that I recommend. Why? Because refresh will bring only the information that was added, new on QuickBooks, or updated since the last time that you run that populate, or since the last time that you run that refresh. You can do, for example, if you got a company that do a lot of invoicings, a lot of billings, a lot of estimates, you can do the refresh every 10 minutes, and it can only bring 20, 30, 100 records. Instead of populate will bring thousands of records, and that's the way to go when you do your daily or your hourly or your minutes refresh. But there's one thing: if you haven't populated yet, refresh will work as a populate for first time, because we use the history table right here. The history tables on your database will, you know, after we populate, we're gonna see it, will register the table the last time that you did it, the company files that you did, and which user did it, and what operations did it. So you will know if someone else run any report or any refresh populate, it will show here the user, the Windows user that did it. So you kind of have a record on your server. If the person that is working with LessSync doesn't have access to the server because it's an employee that you don't want them to mess up with the data, then you will see which of your workers are running, the task. It's kind of like a kind of report. And right here, you can do all the tables, or you can only simply do the tables that your business manage. That's something that I would recommend. You can always do all tables, but it will take longer. But if you are a business that only handle 4 tables like invoice, item inventory, accounts, customer, I would recommend you just to do only the tables that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you wasting time transferring information that is not valuable for you on the database?
Mm-hmm.
As always, it's up to the customer. Let's just do account.
Mm-hmm.
This is a simple one, a faster one. So populate account. So you can put right here any name. Of course, it needs to be unique, and that's for you, just you to know which one, what the task does. And right here you got the first task. If you double click on it, actually I think I left refresh. We're gonna change it. If you double click on it, you will see which is the task name, which company file, and database. You can always double check. For example, I just left refresh. You can go back here and edit. For example, look at this tool. So I just put refresh, but I meant to do populate.
Uh-huh.
So you can do populate and do save as new, but this change needs to be populate accounts. And you do save as new, and do you see? So you get a new one. So we're gonna do this one. We're gonna put refresh. We're gonna set. So you can use this edit and save as new. For example, actually this was a request from a customer that he runs reports, but he has like 30 company files, and then he wanted to save time just picking all the tables and all the filters. When you have a filter, when you have a set of filters, and you want to keep the set of filter, but you only want to change the company, then you can do that and do save as new, and you save your time, picking the filters again, because the new task will just get all the filters. That's just a cool feature when you have a lot of company. And if this task is the first one, you can actually move it up and down, and sort them as you want them. Let's just go there and run. Just right click on it, run. And it's gonna connect to QuickBooks. It's gonna run. That's it. We finished with account. Of course, account table is a simple account, and any company file, it will run really fast. And when you go here to the database, voila. So we got all the accounts on the database. Just for disclosure, this is a sample company file. There's no real data here. So
hello. Okay. So yep. Let's see. Get it. If you want to share your screen again. And the last thing I heard was you were going to check the accounts table in SQL before the call dropped.
Okay. So
there we go.
So we just got a call drop right now. We're gonna continue. So we just populate the account table.
Mm-hmm.
So we come here. Of course, depending on the server that you are. So there you go. We got all the accounts data from QuickBooks dumped to the database, and then we have different fields right here. LS data. That's a field that I use just to handle any information. So don't use that field because it will be deleted every time, because that's a field that the application used. Sorry, that the application used just to make sure that the information was updated, populated, or something that's for the application to use. Operation field is the one that you're gonna use for either tell Let's Sync what to do. If you want to update information on QuickBooks, either add, if you're gonna add a new record, update, if you're gonna update a current record that we have right here, or if you're gonna delete the record. You're gonna put like we have here on the help file.
Mm-hmm.
So down there you're gonna see the 3 different values that operation I can get. Not all tables support the same thing, but that is on QuickBooks. But every table right here will tell you which one. But that's another trick to know. If you go here and you say, oh, I want to just do something on a table, let me see if it is supported by QuickBooks. You just double click on the database and you see. When it has a zero, it means that it's supported, but there's no record waiting to be processed. But if it's empty, it is mean that it's not supported by QuickBooks, not for Lessing.
Yeah.
So I support everything that QuickBooks do support. If there's nothing here or something that you know that QuickBooks support and I don't have it here, just please contact me and we'll add it right away. Because I can make something like a field or a function that you may use in your environment, and I don't know like. For example, on credit card, you can add credit card records, credit card reforms. You can delete them, but you can hold them. That's something that. And there's another one, for example, for payroll items non-wave, you cannot do anything. So you can only get information out of QuickBooks, but you cannot modify information on QuickBooks. Same thing happens with item sites. You can get the item sites for QuickBooks, and then you can get information on the database and, do something else that you do with that data, but you cannot push any information back in. But this is a trick that you double click on the database and you see. You can actually see from here the error table if it was. Now that we are in the database, let's just explain really quick that you can do on this window. So you can see any errors. If it tells you, you can actually explore the database from here, and you will be able to see the information from the application. Just view. That's something, for example, you have an employee running Lessing, but that employee doesn't have access to the server, but you still want them to see the data that was transferred. So, they make sure that the data actually was transferred to the database. They can let you know, okay, the data is up to date. They can actually see it from here. So they don't have the need to go to the server and have access to the server. They can see the information from here. And the other thing, if the password changes, you can actually update the password from here, so you don't have to do the delete add process.
So the way that it works now, it can run as a service, and you have the internal scheduler that Lessing does. But you were mentioning something very cool about actually using the Windows scheduler, because I've seen that a lot in which servers, they get updated and they get rebooted, and nothing that you had there in the start menu sometimes it starts by itself. So I'm really interested in this new functionality about using the Windows scheduler. Can you, to wrap it up, can you show me how to do that? Because it's pretty straightforward. The product looks amazing. I like the look and feel, and the website is very clear.
Yeah, the website, you're going to get a lot of documentation on the website. It is really clear, and you got screen by screen how to do that on the console. Because Lessing comes with a utility application that calls lsconsole.exe that will run that. And right here on the help file, you will see a step by step how you can use Windows Task Scheduler and run. So you can just go to the help file, and I have just a tab for it, console Lessing desktop. And then you can see a screen by screen how to do that. And how to have it up and running like every hour, every 10 minutes. That will be completely up to you. Like once a day, at 6 a.m. before your staff come in and they get all the records up and running. There's all right here documented. You don't have any problem. You just follow the step. It will be not so hard to do so. And the other cool part. You can get email notifications. For example, you get the email notification, for example, when task failed. And actually, once you got everything, scheduled with the Windows Task Scheduler, if the task failed in the middle of the night, the application will email you telling you that the task didn't run in the middle of the night and what was the reason for it.
So wow.
When you woke up in the morning, you don't have to be checking the server all the time. You say, okay, you can actually get the email when complete. But remember, if you run in the task every 10 minutes, you're going to get the email every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it will be up to you if you just want to be informed, at the beginning, or let me see if everything works fine for a week. You can actually have both of them. once you know that the application is up and running, it's telling you that it's wrong, then you can go back here and check this and just get the notification when it failed. So you don't have to be checking the server all the time, and you can put one email. So far, I only support one email address, but I will put multiple emails on future version. That's something that is going to be added on down the road, just to do different things. And if you want to access to the help file, just right here, just click on it, and it will take you there to the help file, no problem. And if you want to move the application from one computer to another one, because your server, for example, if you're gonna redo your server, the first thing that I would recommend you just deactivate your license. Then once your server is back home, you can activate your license again. But if you're gonna move the license, you're gonna move Let's Sync to another computer, you can actually do that on your own. You deactivate your license right here, and then when you install Let's Sync on the other computer, you're gonna go and activate the license that you have. Because Let's Sync is computer-based license. If you have a terminal server, everyone can use it. If you have a regular computer, all the users can use it. But if you have different computers, you will need different subscriptions. But you can move that by yourself. If you need help, of course, you can contact me anytime, but you can do that by yourself. And just to wrap it up, let's just go on the settings part. For example, the settings, you have different options, a lot of options. And one that is really, really important, and it was a request by a customer, by the way, because I didn't have this option at the beginning. It was a request. Create tables from scratch while populating. What happened with this right here? There's a lot of customers that they have either a storage procedure or views on the table. And once you populate, Let's see, we'll delete the table and we'll create it from scratch. What happens when it does that? It will delete your storage procedure or your view on that table if you have it right here. But if you check this and you populate, Let's Sync will populate, but your table will never get deleted, and you will never lose that view or that storage procedure, and you will get the populate effect.
That is a great option because on the other product, I actually have a lot of people where I have built a lot of triggers for example, for example, now that you added the user data field, it's gonna be super easy to deal with this. But before, what I used to do was, that when you insert the information, you actually usually send the primary key in the meantime, while before QuickBooks refreshes and add the actual primary key. So I had triggers that if that field was changed, to go ahead and save the new ID, the QuickBooks assigned, the ID assigned by QuickBooks to the internal table that I had, so I could keep them linked. And I was always worried about that. Oh shoot, I've had so many usually triggers more than anything else. What's going to happen if I need to repopulate these? I need to make sure that I get backups of my triggers. So, but these are great options. I see a bright future for Let's Sync, and we have a lot of customers that love synchronizing with Access SQL and keep their data. There's so many customers that QuickBooks is good. It's a vertical product, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a canned product. So you cannot do any changes with your product. The sky's the limit. You can build any type of application that you want, but still keep your accounting integrity as you need to run a successful business. And I applaud your effort. This looks great. I'm looking forward to work with the product, and I'm pretty sure that I'll be calling you when I start, because you know me. Sometimes I can be a knucklehead and I send you a lot of emails. But I'm very grateful, Yudel. I wish you the best. I know this is gonna be great, and looking forward to what's coming in following updates.
Perfect. Thank you, Andre. Looking forward to work with you. So it doesn't matter how many emails or calls or any questions. All questions are worth. We're here to help. If your client's business and your business works, so mine as well. So
great.
It's a community.
Yeah. Okay.